Hello, and welcome to this week's edition of ELCAT News. I'm Jamie Rook, sitting in for Jen Carlos. First up, a discussion at Monday's school committee meeting about next year's operating budget. Superintendent Gordon Smith presented several options for allocating money within the budget approved by the Town Council last month.
We had, if you remember, outlined 4 during the development process, potential new positions, and the original priority order is as you see them listed. It was an intensive special needs teacher at the high school, as you now have students moving from the middle school in that program to the high school, but we have now a program established elementary through middle school, looking to finish that off and have that program run through the high school grades. Then you have an instructional technology specialist at the high school. That was the second in terms of how it originally was prioritized. We have a social and emotional teacher at Birchland, and we have a math coach / interventionist at the elementary level. What we've tried to do with those positions is just give the school committee some possible strategies if we wanted to go beyond one position, which I believe the town was looking at intensive special needs, and that's why it's such a set number of $63,000 beyond level services.
On Monday, members tried to reconcile their legal discretion to allocate funds towards additional positions with an agreement by the Town Council during budget negotiations to restore funding for one additional full-time position at the middle school.
A strategy that every district has to use to survive and to move a district forward is when you have your retirees who have been in a district for 20, 30 years, they're at the top of the scale. I don't need to throw out numbers, we all know that they're at the top. So, the goal is some positions you can come in a little lower, some positions we all know are a little more challenging and you have to have someone with a little more experience, but there's a balance there. So we have a pot of money and we need to make it work, but that's how we bring a district forward, is by using those savings to bring on a program, to bring on a new teacher. So sometimes it is adding the FTEs. It's not just because the Town Council votes that bottom line budget, not our FTE. They vote our bottom line budget.
They voted to increase our budget by 1 FTE.
And gave us that amount of money, but
Right, so in Rich's point, and we can't just find the money and all of a sudden fund 4 additional FTEs. It's not acceptable to me, because if we're able to find the money should be there.
Right, but it's not.
I know we're shifting, but
strategically, you're not finding money. You can't move on it unless you have reviewed what you've hired in terms of your replacement positions.
In the only contest on Tuesday's election ballot, Sarah Trulio prevailed over Susan Mantoni for a seat on the school committee. The vote totals for each of the candidates closely mirrored the results of the preliminary election in April. Town councilors Tom O'Connor and Don Anderson were unopposed for the 2 open council seats. 3 changes to the town charter were easily approved. On Thursday, June 7th, School Superintendent Gordon Smith and East Longmeadow Education Association President Elio Gonzalez honored school department staff and the annual staff recognition reception hosted at the high school. In addition to a record 22 retirements this year from the district, Town Councilor and former Birchland Park Principal Kathleen Hill was inducted into the East Longmeadow Educators Hall of Fame. With the 4th of July just around the corner, folks are stocking their coolers and planning their cookouts for the biggest celebration of the year in East Longmeadow. The Rotary Club of East Longmeadow is asking everyone who makes the fireworks display at the high school part of that celebration to pitch in with a contribution that supports the event. Club Treasurer Jim Rintoul reminds us that the fireworks almost didn't happen last year and explains how you can do your part to ensure that they are always part of the 4th of July in East Longmeadow.
In the spring of 2017, early spring, we realized that there was not going to be any fireworks. And that somebody needed to, this was mid-May, and somebody needed to do something fairly quickly or they weren't going to happen. And the Rotary organization in East Longmeadow Rotary, took over the function of the fireworks for the town of East Longmeadow. We had some businesses in town, some people in town donate money. We had a couple of large contributions and a lot of smaller contributions. And that's kind of why I'm here today, because we need to raise funds for the fireworks this coming year, 2018, and also we are thinking ahead to 2019, and which will be the 125th, I believe it is, anniversary of the town of East Long Meadow, and we need to have funds for that. We need the support of the people of the town of East Long Meadow. And for that reason, we've set up a GoFundMe page, and we're asking the residents of town who come and enjoy the fireworks to send in a few dollars, and I mean literally a few dollars, 5, 10, 20, 25, and the GoFundMe page is at www.gofundme.com/EL Fireworks. And the Rotary Club has a separate dedicated bank account. This money goes in, it's not going to get spent for anything but fireworks related expenses. I've always said that if everybody that watched the fireworks or the parade threw in $1, we'd have plenty of money to do these things. But they do cost money. They, especially with the fireworks, there's significant public safety issues involved, and in addition to the traffic issues. So there are a lot of expenses that are incurred by the various organizations in town and the town to put this on. We really would appreciate more people helping us, joining our club or being an active participant in the things we do, and we would welcome you to come to visit one of our meetings by contacting myself or going to the Rotary website, which is www.elrotaryclub.org, and it lists our officers and people you can contact if you'd like to help Rotary Club or become a member of Rotary Club. And I'd like to take that opportunity while I'm talking here today to welcome anybody in town that would like to help us. I've been in Rotary since the club started, which was in 1970, and we need another generation to step forward and take over these things. So we welcome anyone who would be interested in helping do the many things that Rotary of East Long Meadow and Rotary International that does across the world.
Here's what's happening this upcoming week at the East Long Meadow Library.
On Wednesday, June 13th, from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. is Early American Women Writers. Join Professor Paul Thefalt of Springfield College in rediscovering the women writers who put American literature on the map. You'll enjoy a lively discussion of how these pioneering authors enlarged the nation's cultural frontiers in crafting fiction that helped ignite the Civil War. Registration is required. And on Thursday, June 14th, from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. is mini computer classes. This second installment, titled Beginner Word, will allow participants to use the library computers and receive hands-on training from an ELPL librarian. Each week will focus on a different topic. Proficiency with a mouse and keyboard are required for this class. Space is limited and registration is required. To register, call 525-5400, extension 1508.
During the budget discussions last month, the Health Department noted that the cost of trash disposal continues to rise, but that curbside recycling, from which the town actually generates revenue that could offset those increases, is declining as a percentage of total trash. The Health Department's recycling coordinator, Liz Bone, is doing some community outreach to spur more participation in recycling, save the town money, and lower our impact on the growing landfill at Bondi's Island. One effective way to reduce the volume of waste going to the landfill is to compost material that can be turned into rich garden soil.
Hi, I'm Liz Bone. I'm the recycling coordinator for East Long Meadow with the health department, and I'm here to talk about composting today. Composting, it's easy. Composting is a great way to get rid of organic waste and create nutrient-enriched soil for your garden or yard. The first step is finding a partially sunny location in your backyard. There are many compost bins on the market. Find one that fits your needs. Once it's set up, it's time to compost. Start with putting some browns in it first. Your compost should always have 75% browns, such as leaves, hay, dirt, cuttings, paper, and 25% greens, such as vegetables, flowers, fruits, grass. This combination keeps it from smelling and attracting animals. Don't forget to keep it slightly moist and stir your compost occasionally. Your compost will take about 6 months to turn into rich soil. Weekly organic waste takes up about 45% of your waste, so let's not throw away organic gold. Compost bins are for sale at the health department for $25. Thank you.
Unfortunately, some trash that should end up in the waste stream ends up as litter. Here's a look at how taxing the act of littering is on the environment, along with the price citizens pay year after year for the indirect costs of it, including the health effects from this form of waste.
Litter carries germs that end up in various places, and as a result, it festers and forms a breeding ground for bacteria. Then the exposure of the germs to the general public can lead to outbreaks of diseases. This can occur if litter gets into water sources or if it is carried by pets into homes. But just how bad is it for residents, let alone the environment? Littering creates conducive environments for pests such as deadly insects and rats to breed. The pests themselves tend to be vectors for diseases, while in other cases, the pests attract other animals such as snakes that are even more harmful to human lives. It is also worth noting that litter breeds litter. Once litter begins to collect in a place, people tend to begin throwing their own litter at the same dump. With time, it makes the aforementioned problems worse, and it makes the cleanup process much harder. Non-biodegradable trash traps animals as they can become ensnared and wounded as they struggle to get themselves loose. The trash such as beer can rings and wrongly discarded plastic items such as nets and ropes can entangle the limbs of the animals. Aquatic animals are mostly affected as they feed on smaller microscopic foods such as krill, which means they have to swallow large amounts of water, which sometimes contains indigestible plastics or metals. To help combat these detrimental environmental effects, Massachusetts legislature officials have produced numerous laws that have unmerciful consequences. Under Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 90, The Rules of the Road, you can lose your license for up to 7 days if you or a passenger is caught littering from your car. And we've all seen road signs stating fines of hundreds of dollars for littering. If you were to throw a large amount of trash from your car, police could cite you for committing a, quote, crime against public health, unquote. Under that section of state law, you could be fined up to $5,500 for littering within 20 feet of a public highway. According to Mass General Law, your first littering conviction holds a fine up to $5,500. Subsequent convictions, a fine up to $15,000. The court may also require that the violator remove the litter at his or her own expense. 50% of any fine imposed is deposited into the Conservation Trust. In dealing with the issue, municipalities often need to hire individuals to clean up the dirt. They achieve this by taxing citizens, meaning that even those who do not litter still have to pay the price for those who do. Clean communities have a better chance of attracting new business, residents, and tourists. There is no reason for any of us to litter because we can always find a litter bin to throw the trash away. Let us set an example for others, especially children, by not littering and by carrying a litter bag in our vehicle and securely covering trash containers to prevent wind or animals from spreading litter.
That's it for this week's edition of ELCAT News. I'm Jamie Rook. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.